This is based off nothing. I'm actually not going to have an opinion on it. Good afternoon, guys, and welcome back to another week of TFW, the football show which is conquered by all of your hottest football opinions on the current footballing world. I've got my laptop in front of me, I've got loads of your opinions, so let's get straight into it. First up, and Kanteev364 has said that, in an honest opinion, Vinicius Jr will be one of the best players in the future. He has incredible touch, he's so skillful and only needs to improve his decision making, and then he'll compete with the likes of Mbappe and Sancho. Honestly, you could say that. You definitely could say that, but he kind of needs to start showing it if he's going to be up with Sancho and Mbappe. Those two are putting in ridiculous numbers, winning titles, and, well, maybe not Sancho, but personal records, he's absolutely smashing them. I mean, this season already, there's 17 goals and 17 assists in the Bundesliga in 27 games. He's been unbelievable. We all know about Kylian Mbappe, winning World Cups, winning every title in France, and scoring a ridiculous amount of goals. Like, yes, you could say that about any young player, like, oh, he's quite skillful, he's got a good first touch, just needs to improve a bit here and there. You know, he needs to start doing it soon if he's to be a great youngster on that level. There's no doubt that Vinicius could do that later on in his career. But yeah, if he's to do it now and kind of not be left behind by those two, and maybe, let's say, become the new sort of Messi, Ronaldo, maybe the two who are definitely at the top of football for the next few years, Vinicius has already got catching up to do because, yeah, Mbappe and Sancho, wow. GG11 Best has said Jadon Sancho is going to flop and will fail badly if he leaves Dortmund. He'll be the next Royce. Oh, Jesus, that's a bit harsh. By the way, I'm a Manchester United fan, so I want what is best for him. I'm glad you want what's best for him. This is based off nothing. Jadon Sancho will fail badly and is going to flop. What is that based off? Is that based off his unbelievable performances at Dortmund from, you know, the age of 17? If you saw a move in him, if he'd already moved somewhere and he'd flopped and then he'd kind of come back around, you'd be like, has he learnt from the past? He's probably going to flop again. What about his stellar performances makes you think that he's going to flop or fail? It's a guess at best. Yeah, if he moves to Manchester United or somewhere else and he flops, you could turn around and be like, I told you I was right. But it's a pretty bizarre guess considering the form he's been in. I would look at Sancho and I'd see no reason to assume or believe that he'd flop if he moved elsewhere. Ginger Plays Games, great name. This Liverpool squad is overrated as they lack a physicality in midfield and the forwards. This was particularly apparent against Watford, honest opinion. I'm not sure you can just point to one game. Surely if you can point to one game against Watford and say, they lack physicality in midfield or forwards, I could then point to the other, whatever it is, 28 games in the Premier League and say they have had that physicality. They've been unbelievable this season. I'm not sure physicality in midfield, I would say that Fabinho is a pretty strong player. I wouldn't say they've been bullied at all, Liverpool. In fact, they've had more of the ball. Up front, if you're talking about physicality as in pure physical strength, they don't need to be because they're quicker and better finishers than pretty much everyone in the league. Yeah, I'm not sure how you can... This is what I found recently, actually. People are pointing to very, very specific things. Someone the other day was talking about an assist in a Champions League game for some player as to why he was great. Players do great stuff all the time. Players do crap stuff all the time. One sort of thing, and teams as well, one thing doesn't necessarily mean that that's like the whole test sample that you're taking. If anything, that Watford game for Liverpool was an absolute blip and not like them at all because they've been brilliant this season. Yes, you could talk about the Atletico Madrid games as well. They got beaten by a good team. Fair enough. I can't say they're overrated. And especially you're saying they're overrated because they lack one trait in physicality. You're not talking about how well they are positionally, how well they are with the ball, without the ball in their work rate, how well they are counter-attacking, finishing chances. Yeah, I'm not quite sure about that one. Lars HD up next. Hottest opinion, no matter who Arsenal get in, with Stan Kroenke as owner, nothing is changing. Oof, I feel for you Arsenal fans. I think definitely Arsenal aren't necessarily the only ones in this position. United fans, Ed Woodward, Spurs, even with Daniel Levy as well, we could be talking about this. I would agree to some extent because you're saying it's as simple as he's not backing the team. He's not putting in the money to Mikel Arteta and therefore not bringing the big signings that Arsenal need to challenge. Yeah, I agree with that. I do think, though, there does need to come some sort of time, especially given... The thing is, as an Arsenal fan, you'll understand, Arsene Wenger was brilliant. He created this whole culture, you know, from the inside to the outside of the club, and it was amazing. Getting rid of a guy like that, as Manchester United fans will tell you, You're going to go through a few poor ones. Moyes wasn't the best decision. Neither was Emery in hindsight. Then Louis van Gaal. Now Mikel Arteta. For Arteta to take Arsenal back to where they want to be, not only does it require investment, completely agree, but it also requires a bit of time as well, and also backing Mikel Arteta, giving him a chance to work with players. Arsenal have got some brilliant youngsters at the moment. Who says they need to go out and make ridiculous signings? Defensively, maybe. Attacking-wise, who knows? If Arteta can, prove himself to be a brilliant coach and has learned from Pep Guardiola, who's to say that a front three of Reece Nelson, maybe a front four, Reece Nelson, Eddie Nketiah, Gabriel Martinelli and Bukayo Saka couldn't be the best front four in the Premier League in like 3 or 4 years? Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there will be. That would be a massive shout. But who's to say that may not also be the thing? So I think with Kroenke in charge, yes and no. You could potentially, in terms of financial backing, you could potentially point to that as the fact that nothing will change. Also, and I think this is very important, very lastly on this topic, you have to look at the competition. Arsenal could change everything. Kroenke could leave, bring in some money. The same thing with Tottenham, the same thing with United, same thing with Everton, whoever you're talking about. At the end of the day, Liverpool, Manchester City are still going to be Liverpool, Manchester City. Arsenal could take their current standings from here to here. They've still got to beat 2 of the best teams the Premier League has seen. So it's not just about change within yourself. It's also got to be a good timing, I'd say, for the rest of the league. Maybe City have a poor season, like they are this season. Maybe Liverpool go off the boil, something like that. But I would tend to agree, Lars. Onefootball said, Harts' opinion, Dortmund lack the consistency and mentality to win the Bundesliga. We spoke about this before. Yes, you could say they do. I'm not sure you could point to a mentality exactly. It's too easy. This is the one thing that annoys me. It's too easy to say, they've lost a few games for mentality and consistency. I'm like, well, okay, they've lost a few games here and there, 1 or 2 blips. I would say they maybe have a lack of the winning mentality in the Bundesliga and the consistency, but Bayern's the flip side of that. Bayern's brilliant consistency and brilliant mentality is better than Dortmund's lack, and that's what takes them to the title. Again, if Bayern Munich, like we say with the competition, if Bayern Munich weren't in the league and Dortmund were winning title after title after title, you wouldn't point to these 1 or 2 games which they've lost and said, lack of mentality or winning consistency, because they'd be top. So, I think it's Bayern doing better rather than Dortmund being absolutely terrible. Next up, Yup Dup has said, Dortmund were on fire without Haaland. Does that mean he was the problem? No. Football fans need to realise there's a difference between correlation and causation. Erling Haaland is an unbelievable forward, and the fact they won 6-1 without him does not mean that he was the problem. Sada Nanda has said, Hot's opinion, when you're a nobody like Harvey Elliott, you talk about Sergio Ramos and Real Madrid to gain attention. This is quite funny. I'm not sure if any of you guys saw this. Apparently, there's news going around that Harvey Elliott was offered the chance to join Real Madrid ahead of Liverpool. Was it last summer? Yeah, last summer. Took him on a tour of the Bernabeu, tour of Real Madrid, speak to him, whatever, and then said, do you want to come and meet club captain Sergio Ramos? And he was like, nah, I hate what he did to Mo Salah. That's a funny story. And now that he's joined Liverpool, you can see how he'd be sticking up for Liverpool, and he'd definitely be sticking up for his teammate in Mo Salah, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. There is no way that you'd go all the way to Real Madrid as a youngster. They're delighted to sign you, and then if you actually wanted to join Real, you'd then insult their club captain, who, if you were really going to join them, would then go on to be your future teammate and leader. So I'm not sure whether this got twisted. Maybe he said it to a journalist after he joined Liverpool. I don't know. I think you'd have to have, and don't get me wrong, he seems like the kind of guy who's got a bit of minerals about him. You'd have to have some serious balls on you to go to the Bernabeu when they're trying to sign you and then just rinse the captain in front of the club. Maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. He's got some attention anyway, so you're probably right, he did get attention. El1017 has said, Man United have a bright future ahead of them and will win the Premier League within the next 5 years. Again, I'm going to go with the same as the Arsenal thing. United do have a bright future, some brilliant youngsters coming in, a brilliant team. Whether or not they're going to reach the levels of Liverpool and City, it's going to be tough. United could, as we say in the next few years, be far better than they have been, but still be just off the top 2 or 3 places. Alfred Norlov with a big opinion here. This is an interesting one. It sounds like he's a very sort of annoyed Barcelona fan. So he said, hottest opinion, Real Madrid season has been so overrated. I'm not even sure overrated is the word. Everyone keeps saying they're having a great season because Zidane's back. They won El Clasico, but they actually haven't. They knocked out the Copa del Rey, which they lost 4-3 at home. Again, you're pointing to one specific game. Anyway, and almost out of the Champions League after being humiliated by City at home. Whoa, a 2-1 defeat at home to Manchester City is not humiliation. They're second in La Liga after losing stupid games to a team like Mallorca. Throwing shade on Mallorca. What's got wrong with them? I don't get how Barca's having a bad season if they're number 1 in La Liga and Real are having a great season lying number 2 and being out of all cup tournaments. Love from Denmark. There's just 2 points between them, I believe. If Barca didn't play that game or it got called off, if they just lost the previous game, which doesn't mean Barcelona are bad, then Real Madrid would be top. So is that the difference between a great and a bad season? No, absolutely not. I think the reason that Barcelona may be having a bad season is because much more was expected of them. We saw after Real Madrid crashed out of the Champions League last season, Zidane had left. They had 3 managers in the season. Ronaldo had left. They were looking really poor. They weren't producing the kind of football. Certain players were aging. No one was expecting too much of them. But with Barcelona, they still had Messi in the team. They were still playing some, not the best football. They were still playing pretty good football and much more was expected of them. So for it to be so close, for them to be in the Champions League drawing 1-0 to Napoli, who've had a pretty poor season, Barcelona should be doing better. Barcelona should be doing better. With Real Madrid, of course, they have high expectations. They should be doing better as well with the funding that they've got, with the players that they brought in, especially likes of Eden Hazard as well. But yeah, I'm not saying they're having a great season. I don't think either team are having a great season. But if anything, Barcelona's expectations, given recent history, should be a lot higher. And they should be doing a lot better. With Real Madrid, yes, once Zidane's back and maybe another summer transfer window next season, they'll be expected to do brilliant. They won't be expected to crash out of the Copa del Rey. They will be expected to beat any team at home in the Champions League, but I wouldn't say they're being overrated. I think they're both having a kind of bad season. Actually, there's only 2 points between them. Technically, whoever doesn't win La Liga has had a poor season, regardless of who's knocked out the Copa del Rey, who gets further in the Champions League, unless one of them wins it, obviously. And lastly but not least, this is actually a question to you guys. It's an opinion from Oliver Tempest, who said Tottenham away fans are the loudest away fans. Now, I know you're going to think, Matt, you're agreeing with this, you're being biased, blah, blah, blah. I'm actually not going to have an opinion on it because Tottenham away fans are the only ones I've ever been with. I haven't been in another away fan section, so I can't have an opinion. I don't know. From what I've seen as a home fan, there have been some great away fans. Especially Ajax were brilliant last season. I think Liverpool always have good travelling support, as do Manchester United. I think historically they're so well supported, they have great away fans. Also thought Sheffield United had brilliant away fans, and Crystal Palace. These are the ones in England. Again, I don't have too much history with any other away fans in European football because I haven't seen as many as I have Premier League games. So yeah, you guys let me know. What do you think are the best away fans? It doesn't have to be Premier League, it could be Europe, in the world, wherever. You guys let me know in the comment section down below. Of course, let me know your thoughts on the rest of today's TFW episode as well. But until next time, I will see you guys later.